This is Kurt ASMR, and no, I'm not going to do the whole video the way I am in my thumbnail. That was dangerous enough to do as it is, and I just wanted to mix it up and have some fun. But it wasn't that fun to do, so enjoy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I would like to do the ultimate guide to fragrances. A lot of you guys ask for like fragrance advice, and fragrance is like a big hobby of mine, so I'm gonna cover the big topic of fragrances and give you like my advice based on like my experience and, you know, stuff I've seen online, basically, let's face it. But yeah, fragrance has been a hobby of mine for like over 10 years, and I have quite a big collection. And so I thought it would be fun to give you a fragrance advice video, and obviously there'll be some bottle tapping as well. So yeah, the first question, the first thing is like, where do you spray fragrances? And generally what I do is, let's just grab one here. This is Antonio Banderas, the Icon, and I'm actually wearing something now, but I would spray, usually I go like 3 times on the neck, and I like to overspray a bit, so I usually go like 2 times on the wrist, on each wrist, so twice on each wrist, and that covers me. But you have to gauge how strong the fragrance is. Maybe at the basic level I just go like 1 on the neck, 1 on each pulse point, and if you find that's too weak, then generally you can up the sprays. Like, one of my favourite fragrances is really, really weak, but I just overspray it because it's not going to last more than a couple of hours. It's really light, it's a citrusy fragrance from the Body Shop, and it's not going to offend anyone. But those heavier, like wintry scents, you might want to go easy on those. You might just want to do 1 spray on your neck, so it entirely depends. There's no right or wrong answer. And some people like to spray on their clothes, on their hair, and yeah, that can work too, to freshen up your freshen yourself up, as long as it's not going to stain your clothes as well. Generally the fragrances should not stain your clothes. They shouldn't have some like bleach in them or anything like that, but yeah, maybe you have to sort of test it yourself. So that's where I spray my fragrances. I rarely spray like all over my body, and again, unless it's like a really light one. I do wear fragrances before I go to bed as well, like again, like tends to be light citrusy, like aquatic ones, for like to help comfort me before I go to bed. And I might sort of give them like a spritz, kind of like all over my head and all over, yeah, sort of, I might go a bit around my body, but I tend not to, because especially if I'm going to bed, I'm not going to smell, you know, I'm not going to smell myself from, you know, below my chest, so there's no point. And plus the other thing is, I have body sprays for that. I have a load of like discount body sprays I got from the drugstore, from like Superdrug, and I was just enjoying trying them out. There's like a melon flavoured one, there's a sweet marshmallowy one, and I like to give myself a blast of those before I go to bed as well, because they're really light and they're sort of designed to go sprayed all over your body, so that yeah, you're not wasting too much money on spraying a fragrance. But again, do whatever you want, and sometimes I'll spray my pillow with the body spray as well. So yeah, that's what I'd say, the basics of where to spray. Just, yeah, I go three on my neck. I tend to do 2 each arm, but yeah, generally 1 on each arm is fine. But again, gauge the fragrance, gauge your skin chemistry. It's not a precise art. So okay, so we did the where to spray, how many sprays. Yeah, I've got my notes here, so I just need to look at all the points I want to cover for you guys. Here's an interesting one. Okay, next question is, how many fragrances do you need? I would say you don't need any. You don't need any. But if you really want like to start an actual collection, you only need is a hobby of mine, and it can be addictive. That's a whole other topic, fragrance addiction, but you only need one fragrance. And like the first fragrance, I can't remember the first fragrance I properly wore. It might have been like Acqua di Gio when I was a teenager, and I can't wear that anymore because it reminds me of being a teenager, which was, for me, as an autistic person as well, my teenage life was horrible, so I can't wear that fragrance anymore. But anyway, you only need one fragrance, and like, it's funny, like, having lots of fragrances, but I think back to the days when I just had my one fragrance, which for the longest time has been like a Kissner by The Body Shop, which is this one. This is my favourite. Like I said, it's really light, doesn't last at all, but it's really really refreshing, and it, you know, it's not going to offend anyone because I like to go to the movies a lot, so this is perfect for that, for not offending anyone and feeling fresh. So this was just my one fragrance for years and years, literally for, I mean, I've been buying this for like 20 years now, probably more than that, and the first time I actually ended up with like 2 fragrances was when I had this as usual, but then I think I got Boss Bottle number 6 for Christmas, and so I had 2 fragrances. I'll never forget that feeling of like having, this was like 10-11 years ago, having like 2 fragrances. I could not believe it. I felt so special. But again, I remember like when I was a student and I could just barely afford this. This was sort of like a non-negotiable. I'd always try to have this. I might go through stretches where I didn't have any, but generally I would have this. I'd get it for every year for Christmas or my birthday, or treat myself when I ran out. And so yeah, it's just about having appreciation, because I think you can, the more fragrances you get more sort of used to it, and to be honest, I miss that feeling of feeling really special, of having like so many, like of having just 2 and being so grateful just to have those 2. And then when I got to 3, I got like Spice Bomb after that for another birthday, Christmas, because I hadn't finished the other 2, and so my collection grew from 3 to, yeah, it's gone up and down over the years. So but you don't need, you only need 1, and some people don't wear fragrance, and that's absolutely fine. Or you might just be fine with like a nice shower gel or a body spray or something like that. So honestly, it does not matter. Like Adidas do body sprays, which aren't aftershave. I actually had Adidas. Where is it? Ice Dive body spray, and then I liked the body spray so much I bought the Eau de Toilette, which is really cheap. So if you want more than 1, if you want like a rotation, as we call it, so you might want to think about buying fragrances for different seasons or different occasions. So you might want a cheap everyday fragrance like Adidas Ice Dive. This is perfect for the gym, for example. I use this at work as well. Again, fresh, citrusy, it's refreshing. It's not going to offend anyone. Perfect for any occasion. Doesn't last very long, but it's really, really cheap. So yeah, you might want one for every day, or summer. That's a perfect summer scent as well. You might want one for work, and then one that's maybe a bit more for like a bit stronger for for when you're going out or something. So for example, I've got 212 VIP Black. It's kind of like a night out fragrance. Some people say it's a clubbing fragrance. Yeah, you could use it for going out to bars or clubs. There's not many my scene, but it's been really nice for a date. It does have this like strong absinthe opening, but once it dries down, it's like really alluring and nice and comforting. It's not. I personally don't find this strong or offensive. The opening does, for me, lasts like a few minutes, if that. So yeah. So you might want like a night out date fragrance, or just for the evenings, or just you you can wear, or something that you can wear casually. So you could separate your fragrances by occasion, formal, casual, by season, obviously. So I have fragrances. Obviously, I've got quite a lot, so you might want to get one for every season, or a winter and summer, or winter, spring, autumn and summer. So, for example, what's a great winter fragrance? So I have one of my favourite winter fragrances is this one, Moschino Toy Boy. This is my second bottle of this. This is a rose-based fragrance with some cardamom spices, so it's like a deep rose. Perfect for winter. Always actually makes me feel warm when it's cold, like physically warm. I don't know how that is. It's not burning my skin. It just gives me that feeling of warmness. Really nice. So anything that's like strong, woodsy or boozy is good for winter. Spring is when you're sort of getting in between. I don't have as many spring fragrances, but that's when you can sort of mix it up with either your winter or your summer ones, or ones which are kind of in between. For example, this would Zadig and Voltaire. This is like a musky sandalwood fragrance, so this would work for winter or spring. I'd say that this might be a bit too heavy for a hot summer day, but I got this for my birthday as a birthday gift this year, and so that would be great for spring. And then you're into like your summer fragrances, so fresh, aquatic ones. One of my favourite summer fragrances, Lo Kenzo. This is like a lemony fresh fragrance. Sorry, I'm forgetting to tap on these bottles. But yeah, it's a lemony fresh fragrance. You can buy this online. It's not really available in shops, but it's widely available online. And like duty free in the airports. Really fresh, doesn't last a long time, but this is my second bottle. I bought the bigger one for my second bottle because I use it so much, especially in summer. So yeah. So and then autumn again, it's kind of like spring. So autumn, when it starts getting colder, you might want to look at getting something a bit heavier, like okay, so I've got this one. I've got Lansdowne de Guerlain. This has like a citrus, but with a really nice spicy woody backbone. I could wear this year round actually, because it's not too heavy. This is really versatile, but it's sort of strong in a nice way. So I feel I could wear these year round, but I think it would definitely work in fall. And then and then we already covered winter, didn't we? So you could do it by season or by occasion. So, but again, you don't need any, or you just need one. I kind of miss the days where I just had one, and actually because I have 40 and I've got a lot going on. I'm saving to buy a house, and I make very conscious choices about my purchases. I don't just buy things on impulse. I think carefully about the ones that I want, and a lot of the ones in my collection I've had for a long time. I bought quite a lot last year, but yeah, actually this year I'm actually going to really slow down on my buying because I really want to enjoy the fragrances I have. And I'll touch on this actually, like fragrance addiction. I've collected things my whole life. When I was younger, I used to collect like action figures, and I got bored of that. I used to collect movies, DVDs. I'd love to actually build up my collection of movies and DVDs, but because I think that's rewarding, you're getting a movie out of it. Fragrances, again, it's actually, as a hobby, it's not a bad hobby because it's actually good value. You're buying something that you can actually use. So something that will freshen you up. You can use it, and you're getting to experience these different notes. Like I have friends who work in the whiskey industry, and they go to like whiskey tastings, and people are talking about the notes, like the peaty notes and the fruity note. I don't drink, so, but no one bats an eyelid at that. Like wine tasting, no one bats an eyelid when people are talking, swirling the wine round in their mouth and saying they detect this, they detect that. It's the same with fragrances. So these perfumers generally in France, You know, they spend years training and putting all these notes in, and I just think it's amazing how they can create, like, for example, rum. The Bentley from Intense has rum in it, and they've recreated that. It has this really nice boozy, very sophisticated, but yeah, very alcoholic, boozy smell. They've managed to recreate that, and yeah. So, but you can get addicted, and I've been through phases where I've got addicted to fragrances where I bought a lot because I was in a bad place, and it's not a good feeling. And I don't ever want to get to the stage where I've got too many that I can't enjoy them, and I'm sort of borderline on that edge now. I have a few where I bought like 3 cheapies recently, and there's only really one of them that I really, really like, and it's actually smells similar to this. I won't go into it, but well, actually I will. It's actually 3 of these. It's from a French brand called Saint Hilaire. I'm a sucker for like weird European brands, and anyway, it turns out that one of these was leaking. So it's a cheap, nasty bottle, and the fragrance is actually causing the paint to flake off there. I don't know if you can see around the neck, which is terrible, and it's like, oh yeah, here. It's coming off, and it's leaking out the side, so if you tip it that way, it leaks out here. You can see that on my fingers, which is terrible. I mean, I spent like $17 on it, so, but yeah, I bought 3 of these, and the actual smell is really nice, but even for a cheap fragrance, it shouldn't be leaking like that, so that's cheap and nasty packaging. The smell's really nice. It's like a fruity, really fruity, sort of effervescent. It's not very extreme. It's called Saint Hilaire Extreme, but it's not really disappointing. So if you see things, oh, it's a cheapie, keep buying cheapies. It's going to add up to the price of an expensive designer. So a part of me wishes I'd just gone for an expensive designer, but I was curious about these. I thought about it for a long, long time, and eventually I just decided to buy all 3. So it's like $60, €60, whatever. But yeah, the fragrance is making the paint flake off. So this is now my work fragrance because I'm just trying to blaze through it and get rid of this horrible leaky bottle. Again, which you'll see in the department stores, these tend to be a bit more classy, a bit more sophisticated. Some of them will work for casual wear, but generally they're designed for like classy evening do's, or yeah, they're a bit more buttoned up. So I did wear this to the movies because it's actually really versatile, but I could wear this on a night out as well. It's just really a jack of all trades. There's an eau de parfum version of this which is stronger, so which I probably wouldn't wear to the movies. And yeah, maybe you're someone who's likes woodsy scents. Like I've got, for example, ebony wood from Zara. You can still get this, but it comes in a different bottle, a slightly different opening, but the dry down's pretty much the same. D-squared wood or D-squared wood, they have obviously, like, as they say on the bottle, they're very woodsy. So if you want something that's got a bit more, a lot of men's fragrances have this woody backbone, and even women's actually, because it just provides a backbone for the fragrance. So yeah, most fragrances you will find that they have woods in the base. I don't have anything that's like mega woody as it dries down, but yeah, even like the Antonio Banderas, that has a woody base. I'm not entirely sure what's usually like cedar wood or something like that, but yeah, it usually just backs up like for example a citrusy fragrance that stops it being too light and airy. So it just gives it a bit of backbone, even if it's like a light fragrance like this Davidoff Aquaman, which I have, which is an aquatic fragrance. So yeah, and yeah, young and old, you might find that there is some fragrances that have been around for a long, long time, like the original Davidoff has been around. So if you're a young person watching this, you might years ago, but the fragrance had been out for like about 20 years at that point anyway, so I found it a bit old school, the original Davidoff, but then it grew on me. So you might actually get an appreciation for old school fragrances, but some of them have that sort of harsh, the older ones like Aramis, they have that harsh, you might want to call it like a granddad smell or an old school smell, you know the one I mean, but yeah, you might get an appreciation for that, or you might be an older person. I'm an older person, and I love those fresh, aquatic, citrusy smells. Yeah, I cannot get enough of those. Yeah, I absolutely love those. So, for example, I've got, there's just another one, Paris Hilton for men. I bought this in America. This is like a sort of melon, it's got a beautiful melon note, really fresh, very light, really nice. I love this. It has a youthful smell, but again, it's a perfect one for a fresh summer day, when you don't want to be overpowering people. So yeah, maybe if you're younger you wanted to go for something a bit lighter, but again, go and try out fragrances and find out what you like. So it's interesting. Okay, so do fragrances go off? Yes, they can go potentially rancid in the worst case scenario. In most cases, if a fragrance is going off, they will lose their top notes. So for example, and you can actually see on most fragrances, I've actually got the box here for Moschino Toy Boy, and they don't really have like an expiry date, but they have this thing on the back where it says, you can see this 36M here, so it's hard to see, but here it says 36M, which is 36 months, which is the suggested date by which the fragrance you might want to think about getting rid of, because it might have, the ingredients might have degraded, but it's only a guideline. It's not like a sell by date or something like that. So I find that generally with my collection I'll get through a fragrance every 2 or 3 years, and that's fine. But I have had the odd fragrance go off where it lost the top notes, and it's not very nice sensation. So for example, I had another Moschino fragrance, Moschino Forever Sailing, beautiful aquatic fragrance, and it had this beautiful fresh aquatic mint blast at the top, and once that fragrance got down to the bottom, like this one, this Paul Smith Sunshine, similar, I noticed that that fresh top note had just completely gone. Now what they often say is, the more, now that this is near the bottom, the less liquid is in there, there's more oxygen, and that can accelerate the degradation of the fragrance. But for example with Sunshine, this still smells really nice. I've had this like about 4 or 5 years now, and I've nearly finished it, but the top notes are still really good. It's a very citrusy, zingy fragrance, but yeah, they can go off. But then again, I've had fragrances which have lasted for years and years, and they still smell really good. For example, I'm actually wearing Kenzo Om Night, which I bought. I received this as a birthday present, and from a friend of mine, and this was about like 6 years ago now. I just got this out because it's more of a summery fragrance, but I hadn't worn it for ages, so I had to wear it tonight. So, and I've used about 25%. It's hard to see, it's about there. So I've got 25% left, I should say. Sorry. Anyway, where was I? I've had this for over 6 years, and it still smells really, really good. I haven't noticed the top notes have gone. It has this really nice coconut, tropical, it's like a mango note, even though I don't think mango is listed, but it has that sort of really coconut, like a mango sorbet smell to me. Really, really nice, and it's still there after all these years. So this brings me on to my next point. So how do you store fragrances to make sure that they don't minimize the risk of them going off? Like I said, with the Moschino, I stored it in the box, I stored it away from direct sunlight, and it still lost those top notes, unfortunately. It was an older fragrance, it had been but the other thing you can do is you can actually go on a website called Check Fresh. You can type in the batch code and the brand. It will tell you when that batch was made and sort of how old it is. So I have some fragrances which have been around for a long time, and they still smell really, really good. So like I said, with the Kenzo, still smells great. But so I do recommend that you store fragrances away from direct light, especially sunlight. And I've got my ring light blasting for this video. But I like to store my fragrances in their boxes just because I like to have the original boxes. They're good for tapping on anyway, so. Yeah, I like to keep them in the original boxes, and that keeps obviously the light away. I try to keep them away from moisture, although in my bedroom at the moment it's quite a smallish room, and it does get a lot more moisture in than like where I previously lived, for example, which was drafty, but at least it was definitely cool, and I kept those in this dust, like this old wardrobe, but it kept things really dry. And so the bathroom is not a good place to store your fragrances, especially out of the box, because there's lots of moisture and in the bathroom, and moisture is the enemy of fragrances. If moisture gets in there, especially if you've got the cap off, that can really degrade the fragrances. So you might only notice like the top notes go, but you'll definitely notice like fragrance is a journey. You've got your top notes, middle notes, and base notes, and once those top notes go, you'll notice that it just feels flat. There's no journey anymore. It just smells It might still smell sort of okay, but you're just basically spraying the dry down onto your skin, and yeah, it's just lost that effervescence. Citrusy fragrances, aquatic fragrances, because of those types of notes, have a reputation for not lasting as long. But again, this one, 4 or 5 years, kept it in the box, still smells to me as great as the time that I first bought it. So keep them in the box, or if you must keep them on display, keep them out of direct sunlight, and in a cool room if you can. Try not to shake up your bottles as well. I mean, I actually quite like watching ASMR videos where they shake them around, but if you're introducing all these oxygen bubbles, that's not great. But they are going to get shaken in transit, and you take them on holiday and stuff, it's unavoidable. But shaking them so that the bubbles fizz, I wouldn't recommend that really, unless you're doing an ASMR video. It's a cheapie, so Alright, okay, next, another big topic, where to buy fragrances. So obviously, you can buy fragrances like in retail shops. Some retailers do really good discounts. Some obviously is like going to be full price, especially like Chanel. You rarely see those online because they're like an exclusive brand, which is fair enough. You're always going to pay a lot for those. Like I actually saw some Chanel fragrances online, but they were similar to the shops. So because they're like I said, they have a they protect their brand, and they, it's like a get what you pay for brand, like Chanel, Dior, which is fair enough, The other thing is, online, you can get really good prices online. Like I actually got my Guerlain fragrance online, which was £62 from My Origins, whereas in retail it would be between like £85 to £90, so that's quite a significant saving. Although I really like the feeling of buying a fragrance like on holiday at the airport, find a bargain online, or you want to just buy one immediately in the shops. And like I said, sometimes the shops have good deals, like Boots and Superdrug, the two big drugstores here. They have good deals online, so just be careful online. Make sure it's a reputable company, and like there's loads of, in the UK. There's loads of like All Beauty. My Origins is like a European brand. They ship all over. There's loads of Beauty Base, I think. Parfumo. Oh no, Parfumo is like a database. No, but there are loads in the UK. I generally just check to see if they've got an actual address for their warehouse. Because you get these like weird, or just like chemists that have online chemists that sell all sorts of like, I don't know, whatever they sell. Makeup, hay fever tablets, whatever, drugs, not drugs, but like over-the-counter stuff, and they'll sell fragrances as well. And I bought fragrances from those sites, and it's been fine. But yeah, just do your research. Don't. I did buy from a Tommy Bahama fragrance. I wanted like it was like a full set of mini Tommy Bahama fragrances, including this one, which I now have a full bottle of, but it was a weird site I'd never heard of. But I was like, oh, they've got this box set. Anyway, it just never turned up, and I never signed up for that email, so there was no way of tracing it. And so I don't know what happened to it, whether it got stolen or what, but I was really annoyed. So yeah, that was really, really irritating. So do your research. I know that in the US and North America, you've got fragrancebuy.ca, Fragrance X, and Fragrance Net. They are big, reputable brands. Like Fragrance X has got like a YouTube channel where they do like mini reviews, and they're generally very reputable. But do your research as well. So yeah, and then what about like eBay? Like if you buy, for example, discontinued fragrances on eBay, yes, but again, do your research. Like I do buy like discontinued fragrances online, because sometimes I've had a fragrance on my list for a long time and then it becomes discontinued and I have to go to eBay. I'm trying to find one that I bought off eBay. I don't think I have any to hand, unfortunately, but yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to buy something off eBay. Again, just check out the seller, check out if they're reputable. I bought Davidoff Cool Water Night Dive. It's from 2014-15. Discontinued. I got it for like £40. And it's discontinued, and I was so happy, and it was genuine as well. I did a whole video about that one. I haven't got it to hand, unfortunately. I didn't get all of my fragrances out because it just wasn't practical, but similar bottle. Davidoff is always the same kind of bottle and stuff. So, but yeah, generally you are going to pay like a markup for a discontinued fragrance, but all I'd say is just you have to be your own gauge of okay, so for example, this discontinued fragrance I want, I know that I saw it in the stores for £60, and this person is selling it on eBay for £80, but am I willing to pay that much more? Is £70 more of a better price? I'm only willing to pay £10 more, or $10 more. So just think about how much more you're willing to pay based on how much it was previously, or how much current fragrances from that brand go for, because I am willing to pay a bit more for a discontinued fragrance, but not stupid prices. And you do see like really stupid prices for discontinued fragrances sometimes, which is just greedy and stupid. So, and there are scammers out there. There has been a lot of talk about like Ash from Chensense did a really great video on YouTube about eBay selling fake fragrances, which is despicable, really. Yeah, it's not good. Just don't buy fake fragrances, because you don't know what is in those. You really don't. The other thing is like clones and dupes. So yeah, clones and dupes, they're fine. They're generally just like, what they mean by clones and dupes is not like an illegal thing. It's basically like a fragrance, a smell-alike fragrance. And even like, come on, let's be honest, designer brands, they might complain about this, but they do, they imitate each other sometimes. One will do an elixir and they'll all do an elixir. And it might smell different, but essentially they are copying each other, they're copying trends. And you've got like, maybe Creed Aventus, the niche fragrance, which is like a pineapple fragrance. I've never owned it. I like it, just never owned it. They have lots of smell-alikes, right down to like Mont Blanc Explorer smells really like it, or it's inspired by, let's say. And then you've got like all these different other brands like I couldn't tell you. Amraf. They're like a sort of dupe house. Yeah, so I tend not to buy dupes. I'd rather save up and buy the real thing, but there's nothing wrong with it. And like I said, designer fragrances kind of do that as well. They do like these inspired by fragrances, because if something's a hit, all the other fragrance brands will jump on that sort of bandwagon and do their own version of it. Like Invictus was a big hit back in 2014, 2015, and they all, maybe even though this is 2013, I can't remember, but they all jumped on that kind of Invictus bandwagon for a while. So they might complain, but they're just as guilty as anyone else. Yeah, and sometimes they'll just like create something similar by accident, because when you're combining so many fragrances together, it's going to be evocative of something that already exists sometimes, you know. But yeah, it's just the way it is. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with buying clones or dupes if it's a smell-alike. But if it's an actual fake, that's just wrong. I just don't do that. And don't spray weird chemicals on your skin. Because goodness knows what it's like for these people making these fragrances as well. It must be, I don't even want to think about it, but it's horrible. So and that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about buying fragrances. You've got like designer and niche. I don't know if you know the difference, but a designer fragrance is basically like a designer brand, like Moschino or Carolina Herrera, like that. And then a niche brand. Now I don't think I have any niche brands, but it's a bit of a vague term, but like more expensive. So you might call Tom Ford niche, even though he's a designer, but he's more expensive. You've got brands like Roger Parfums, Creed, Bond Number 9. I used to own a Bond Number 9 New Harlem. They're like niche brands because they're actually more expensive. So and then you've got really niche brands which are sort of, you can only buy online on their own website or in their own shop. There might be like, there's one in Italy that's got its own just shop where you can just buy them from that shop, and so niche covers a lot of different, it's a very catch-all term really, but I don't think I have anything that I would call niche, but I have, like, for example, Carven. Carven is a French brand. They're a bit like Chanel, but not quite. Very classy French brand. And I have like 4 of their private collection. So they've got their own designer versions, and then they've got their private collection, which is more expensive. So that's the difference between designer and niche. And again, allergies. You can be allergic to fragrances. I have bought fragrances which instantly, and I'm talking instantly, gave me a headache. They gave me a headache, and I just had this they make me feel nauseous. Like, there's a fragrance called Encre Noire, which is very popular. It smells like sort of a dark, earthy, rooty, inky. It literally translates as black ink. It literally made me feel nauseous. I don't know what was in it, but I could not do it. I had to sell it. I found it disgusting. And obviously fragrances can irritate your skin. Every year IFRA, the International Fragrance Association, bans certain ingredients every year because of allergies, which is a shame because it makes things difficult for fragrances to be strong and to last longer. They definitely were stronger back in the days, when things were less and less constrained. But yeah, fragrance allergy is a real thing, and I do suffer from it. So just watch out for that. So, and the last tip is just enjoy fragrance. It's a really beautiful thing. Even just having one fragrance can like brighten your day. Like I bought this Carolina Herrera Cobalt in the duty free. I've been wanting it for ages. I thought I'd treat myself. It was just after Christmas, and I really want to wear this when I'm hoping to go travelling next month for a week, and I really want to take this with me because it's actually really nice spring. It's going to be April when I go travelling. It's a really beautiful spring fragrance. It's a bit like a blue fragrance, a bit not aquatic, but a bit like slightly aquatic, slightly blue. It's fruity. It'll work for a night out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, and I'm going to try and minimise the amount of fragrances I take on my trip. So I'm just going to take this one or two and just really enjoy this one on my vacation, and hopefully create some really nice memories with this one fragrance. I will take more than one because obviously, because of my hobby, but I'm not going to... In previous trips I've taken, like, honestly, not joking, like 14, 15 bottles with me, and I lost my luggage as well. I got it back, but that was a bit of a lesson in being minimalist. Yeah, like when I went to the USA, I took maybe 6 bottles, and I bought 2 when I was out there. That was the Paris Hilton and the Tommy Bahama. So it was these 2, and you can buy like little travel decants as well. So you can actually buy. I haven't got one to hand, but you can buy little decants where you can, not always like one with that you can't do, but with a standard bottle, you should be able to, like, you put the thing on and decant it into your little sprayer, and acts as a travel spray, and you can bring it with you, and yeah, you'll be under like those 100ml limits that they have in airports at the moment. So yeah, that's my last rule. Enjoy fragrance. I hope you enjoyed this like guide to fragrances. I hope you enjoyed the longer video because it probably will be long. So alright guys, thanks a lot. Please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps with my channel. I'm very busy at the moment, so I'm trying to at least do at least one video a week, but it doesn't always happen. So I've got a lot going on at the moment, but please do keep subscribed because I will be putting out content as often as I can, and I really appreciate your support. Thanks very much.